leadership, independent, sacrifice, determination, patience, struggle, focus. Keeping it real with Mike Scrill. What's up, world? Thank you for joining me again. Today, I'm so honored with this guest I got today. Anybody that come from where I come from, y'all know we from the streets. And we have so many people that have lived certain lifestyles and have served certain consequences, but they're not here to live to talk about it, whether they're still in prison or they're dead and gone. I'm so honored for all my street people that's going through certain obstacles. Today I have with me, if you're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or from any place across the world, you know this man, Scrill Daniels, y'all. He's been a very inspiration and motivation to me because he come from where I come from. I mean, he wrote a book. I'm talking about a very inspiring book about lifestyles that I can relate to, anybody that live in the street can relate to, and people that we're familiar with. So I want to ask him, I wanted the world to hear from out his mouth about his struggles, the book, his experience with everything. I'd like to welcome my guest, a personal friend, Milwaukee living legend, Scrill Daniels. How you doing, man?
How you doing, Mike?
Man, great. Total honor.
I've been waiting for this time.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate talking to young entrepreneurs like yourself.
It's an honor for me, man.
It's an honor for me,
I want
too.
to speak about this great book you got, Raised in the Game.
Yes.
Man, the title is amazing, but inside is so much about life that I can relate to. We always try to look back and try to be like people we heard of or things of that nature.
Yeah.
But to hear the reality, I heard many stories,
Yeah.
but to hear it come from you and the way you lay it down on here, it helped me with what I'm doing today in life as far as the consequences I went through and now changing for the better. But to hear from somebody that the choices I made in life could have got me similar sentences that you did, and I want to speak about that too. Like, as much time as you did more time than people that's in the streets today, how old they is. So, you know, I want the world to know, man, more about that other side.
Okay. Definitely. But first, I want to give you a background myself, you know. Well, I'm going to let everybody know about me, you know. Well, first, a lot of people know who I am, you know what I mean. You know, I wrote my book. My book tells a story about my whole life, you know, that I was raised in the game. You know, I've been in the streets since I was 14. I wrote the book because, you know, I talk about the principles and integrity. You know, back then we had certain principles, morals, and respect for each other. Well, I'm not glorifying what I did because, see, I'm glad I'm not that same person I am today. But mostly, I'm talking about, you know, the integrity, the principles, and the morals that we had coming up back then. You know, I came up in the 60s when, you know, it was separation. And that's when the black struggle was going on. Yeah. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King in the struggle. And, you know, it was hard for a black man. See, you know, we went to all black schools then. When you went to an all black school, if you seen a black teacher, she was, we look up to the black teacher. You know what I mean? Because we didn't have the opportunity that we had now, you know. But one thing we had that black pride. We had that integrity, we had principles, and we had more brotherly love. And so that's what inspired me to start writing my book. When I get back to Chicago, I'm going to explain to my mother that I'm not going back to school for the last semester. I'll be 4 credits short. I could always get that anytime. I know she's not going to like it, but I myself can't handle the stuff that James is putting down. I'll tell her that I got a real good job lined up, and I'm 18 years old, and she told us when I get grown that we can do what we want, but as long as we're in James' house, we got to do whatever that he said. I gave Tap his $50. I told him I would see him when I come back into Brewtown. So I got my stuff together and was on my way back home. But while I'm on the Greyhound bus on my way back to Chicago, I meditated. I didn't like the idea of having to lie to my mother, but I knew she wouldn't understand or agree. if I told the truth. I tried my best and wanted my mother to be proud of me. But the life she wanted for me wasn't going to work for me. Now, my mother raised me the right way. She raised me the American way. But life for the average black American was not the same as it was for white Americans. I wanted more out of life than working in a factory or making barely enough money to live from paycheck to paycheck. So I had to make a choice. The laws under which we live were designed for our disadvantages. These laws are immutable and inescapable, but we can place ourselves in harmony with them and experience a life of comparative peace and happiness. Difficulty and disharmony and obstacle indicate that we are refusing to give out what we no longer need, or refusing to accept what we need.
Now, Sterling, you know, in the hood, the neighborhoods in our community, a lot of people glorify on the drug selling and basically the things that they see on this side of the fence.
Yeah.
I want you to explain, what did you go to prison for? How long was your sentence, and how did it affect you, so the world can see that it's another side to this life that they be living out here?
I missed, I was gone for 2 decades. Now, what that 2 decades and a half.
Yeah.
And what I went for selling drugs.
Now, Sterling, many people can probably relate to some family member, friend, or somebody going to do some time in prison, whether it be 5 years, 4 years, including myself. I done some years in prison, but we're not too familiar with somebody going to do over 2 decades plus and coming out still looking good, active, got their mind, you in tune with what's going on. So what I want to know is, and everybody else want to know, because we're not familiar with somebody going to do over 2 decades. How did you feel when the judge gave you that time? Did you want to pass out, or how did it affect you?
Okay, well, when the judge sentenced me, and it was funny to me because he stood up, he said, "How old was you?" I said, "I'm 35 years old." And then he started doing his adding. He said, "So, he's gonna give you 38 years." Because he said the average life for a man is 71. He says, "I'm gonna give you 38 years. You're 35 years old. If you live long enough to be 71 years old," he said, then that's I'm not gonna give you life, but it's gonna be just like life. I'm gonna tell you the feeling that I felt like." Now, when he told me that, you know me, I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to show no emotions, so I just kept it, stay calm. But the feeling I had, I said, I'm gonna make him. I said I had something to prove. I'm gonna prove that I'm gonna make myself. When I get in there, I'm gonna make myself a better person. Because I felt like it was unjust. But I came up. When I came up, I was raised when the same thing make you laugh. And you got to accept the bitter with the sweet. But even though it was unjust what it did to me, I still had to find a way to survive.
Now, Sterling, I'm 35 years old. Now, you did the majority of my life inside of prison, and thinking about when you got released to out here, the first day out here, you mentioned earlier that you was gone all of the 90s, meaning like some of the highest points of my life. It's things that I seen that you didn't see. So when you got released, to see that this world that I'm familiar with, that's all new to you, all these new faces, probably including myself, how did it affect you when your first day out?
Hey man, that first day out, they told me I can go. Man, I had my great suit with my brand new white tennis shoes on that I was saving, and it was in the summer day, right? So they let me out. When they let me out on the streets, man, I said it seemed like everything was going fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I watched them cross the street, and crossing the street, I said, I was scared.
Yeah.
Cars were going so fast, I ain't seen that.
Yeah.
So it was just like I was floating. And so I didn't want to let the people know that I had to keep cool. Like I don't know what I'm doing, so I followed the people across the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I said, then I seen them, what were they talking on? Them with phones. Everybody got telephones. I said, I'm looking like that. I said, man, I asked somebody, I said, can I see that? I look at that and said, oh, and they showed me, I said, man, that was just like Buck Rogers days to me, Buck, when I came out. And so then, when I went to prison, we had a big suitcase, something like this, suitcase right here. And so we thought that was cool when you take out your big old thing and you talk on the telephone. But now I said, everybody talk on telephone. That was it was exciting to me. Then when I come to the city, I see everything new. I said, is this Milwaukee?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything was new.
So this was like a new town to you, huh?
It was like a new town to me. I'm talking about all the landmarks gone.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive, always on 27th Street, all of a sudden that you see everything gone.
Exactly.
And so, to me, it seemed like all Milwaukee is one big ghetto. You know what I mean?
So Milwaukee didn't used to look the way it looks now.
No, one big ghetto. I couldn't even know the old neighborhood, Hopkins Street, where I grew up at. I said, man, that look like the cowboy days. You know what I mean? A saloon, a big, you know what I mean?
So even in our black communities, we still wasn't looking poverty-stricken like this in your time?
No, we weren't looking for poverty. I'm talking about all these raggedy houses. I'm talking about everything raggedy. I'm talking about when we crossed 35th Street, it used to be beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everything is raggedy. I'm talking about, it's like all Milwaukee is one big ghetto.
So do it seem like we lost respect for our well-being and our community as a whole from what you remember?
Well, I remember we lost a lot of respect.
A lot of respect.
A lot of respect. The whole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. And then what really got me was the selfishness.
Exactly.
Selfishness. We just lost that black pride that we had. You know what I mean? And I was told when I was in prison that, that people are not the same no more. They're selfish. Everything is about self. There ain't no more unity no more. You'll never see organizations like we had no more, because it's like I was afraid at first. I was afraid to go to the store. But then I see, oh no. I said, they killing each other. The young people just killing each other. I said, only thing we got to worry about if they shoot the wrong person.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because there's no more unity. Everybody is self. Even they're driving selfish.
So throughout that big change that you were able to witness, coming out to this, I see numerous times on movies where people do a lot of time in prison, and then they'll show in this footage like this person's scared to come home or they don't want to come home. Now, I guess this is two questions. Like, when it was time for you to come home, did you ever have that feeling like, oh, I don't never want to get out, or I'm comfortable here? And then my other question is, due to what you're seeing now with the changes, do you and all due respect, because I know the character that you cut from, this is where we belong. But due to seeing what you see out here, do you get some sense of, I'd be better off in prison, or I don't like it out here, due to the changes and the difference of what you remember out here?
Now I can understand. I understand exactly what you're talking about, because, see, by me doing them 26 years and seeing so many different people coming back in, some people come back in 3 different times. But I see why it happened. But see, what I did was, what you got to do is you got to come out with a plan. So what I did, I came out with a plan. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to stay focused on what I got to do. See, everybody I knew that came out with a plan and stuck to their plan, they were successful. You know what I mean? They didn't come back. So when I came back, I knew I had to be focused on. I'm staying focused on what I got to do.
Now, Sterling, it's so many people out that's writing books and that have wrote books and put them out here. I want to know, with this amazing book, when did you know that you knew how to write?
Well, Mike, that's a good question right there. Because what really made me start writing, when I used to write the letters. I had to write letters. I seen, how I put them real good, wrote them in real good shape. Then, you got everybody in jail writing books. I watch them write books. And then I'm writing books, I just go up to them, ask them questions. I said, how you do that? How do you bring that in? And they were telling me, when you write, Sterling, you got to draw a picture and make the people see it. You know what I mean? So I did that. And then the next thing when I found out about writing, I started reading other, great authors' books. I read their books. I see the form that they put it in and how they did it. And then I didn't just want to write the story. I wanted to write how and why in circumstances like that. So writing is a skill, and it's something that I really get excited about now. And I get excited about writing.
Now, Sterling, this Raising the Game, I heard you working on Raising the Game 2, but how's Raising the Game 1 going?
Hey, Mike, it's going great.
Yeah.
It's going great.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in with Keeping It Real with Mike Scrill. And if you know anybody that's going through any kind of havoc, living the street life, please contact Sterling. He gonna help you. He inspired me even when I don't call him. As long as I watch him, I read his words, they inspire me. So you know anybody living the street life and you don't want them to go to prison or die out here in these streets, give somebody that been through it, get them a call that's willing to help you out, give you some hope. And Sterling, I want to thank you, man. It's always an honor every time I come in contact with you. And I want you to know that if ain't nobody watching you, if ain't nobody inspired by you, like you said, the great things that I'm doing, it's inspired by you, man, because of what you've been through. And what you're doing today, everything that you share, it touch on what I went through in life. So you assure me that I'm going down the right path.
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciate you, man. I got much love, genuine love for you, man. The utmost respect.
Okay, same with you.
Man, thank you.
Okay, and thank you.
Man.
Thank you for letting me come on your show.
Man, it's an honor.